everyone, this has been Shambri, the president of WOWzer Technologies, and I want to continue on Show Me the Money. Today I want to talk about getting advice and what kind of advice are you actually getting. Sometimes some of the advice that we are getting could be not the best. You know, I've heard many things from many people, and it's not that they don't have good intentions, it's just, are you sure that what you're hearing is what actually is something that you want to utilize in your business? Let's give you some examples. Always accept a paying customer. My experience has been that that's not necessarily a good idea, and for a variety of reasons. Some of the reasons could be that you don't really know much about them and you haven't really taken any time to ascertain whether they're actually a good fit for you. You should actually prepare beforehand and know the types of customers that you want, and also they should also have the opportunity to make sure that you're the kind of person that should be serving them as well. Some things that could be getting in the way, for example, is that you may have too much already on your plate, and is it a good idea to accept someone else just so that you can make some more money? But then in reality, you may be giving them not very good service, and that also creates a situation with your other customers right now where they're also now not getting your good service. So that's some of the things as well. And also, a paying customer doesn't necessarily mean that's the kind of customer that you want as well. You just never know. And as you're asking your questions, what kind of things come up that may trigger you to say, well, maybe that's not a good fit for me? For example, I've had individuals who came to me and talked to me about they wanted to make sure that they recorded as much cash as possible. So I asked them why. And one of the things that I heard from them is, well, we're taxed heavily. Well, that's not for me to say yes or no, but the reality was that it was pretty obvious from that situation that someone wasn't interested in paying taxes or looking for ways to not do that. Now, I'm not saying that's true of everyone, but in this situation, I didn't feel good about it. So therefore, I never took the client on. That's one of the things that that stood out. Or someone coming along and telling you how they want things done. Well, hang on a moment. My question to them is, what experience do you have in this industry? And also, how do you know what decisions to make as far as accounting and bookkeeping go? Now, I'm not saying that I'm better than them, but if they're coming to me for me to do that for them, then my question is, well, why are they coming to me? What is it that they're trying to do? So it almost came across as a controlling situation. They wanted to control what I did for them, and they wanted it done a certain way. Well, that didn't resonate with me either, so I didn't take them on either. Then I've had clients that I've taken on, and they start out really well, and then all of a sudden they start dictating to you what it is that they want, and you know that it's not what you should be doing. I've had to actually let those go as well, because if you look at it, eventually it comes back to you. I have one situation where someone told me that they only wanted to pay certain types of taxes. I'm talking about sales taxes, and some they didn't want to pay. And they were adamant about it. So I basically said right away, and this is the one area that comes up, just so that you know. I asked them, I said, well, how did you determine that? Well, my industry is doing that. I'm saying, well, if your industry is doing it, does that mean they're doing it right? And when you say industry, are you talking about the whole industry? Or are you talking about some people that you know in your industry? What I found out is a few others as opposed to the whole industry. And they just didn't want to do that. Well, the reality was that if you think about it, CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, if they ever review the books, what's going to happen? They're going to reverse it. And who are they going to come back and say, hey, what are you doing? Don't you know? Of course I know. So therefore, you don't want to be doing things like that. So the customer's not always, it may not be in your best interest in terms of a paying customer. Another one is, the customer's always right. Well, you hear that a lot, that you want to make them happy. But the reality is, if you do that on a continual basis, you'll end up with customers that no matter what you do, you can never satisfy them. And you'll attract that kind as well. And word will get out there, and they'll actually get you to bend backwards to do things. Now, I've had those as well. And those are the types of clients as well, and customers who challenge me on my prices as well. So first of all, they don't want to pay as much, and number two is they want as much of my time as possible. So you're losing on both ends. Now, that isn't true of everybody. Please don't misunderstand me. But what I'm saying is, the customer's not always right. I've also had situations where they tell me that the people that work for me are not that good. And I'm thinking, hang on a moment, you hired me and I know my people, and you're telling me they're not that good? Well, according to what? I never could figure that one out. And I've had customers as well who disappear for a period of time and then they reappear. And when they reappear, they want everything. They want us to drop everything and just do their work for them. And it's like nobody else exists. And then they don't understand why we can't get it done at a certain time. These are things that you need to be aware of. The customer's not always right. The goal is to have a mutual relationship. Okay, what do I mean by that? That means it has to work both sides. And if one side's not working, and if you notice it, let them go. There's nothing wrong with that. Something else that I hear out there as well is, do what you love. Well, I like that phrase, but there's some things that you do love doing that I don't know how you could generate any revenue, because the goal of business is to do what? Make money, right? So if you're sitting there watching TV and using your remote control and you love doing that, what are the chances you'll make anything out of it? Is that a business? I don't think so. I would say instead of doing what you love, do what you're good at. Like, no one ever dreamed of being a tax accountant. I've done that. But let me tell you something. You can make really good money. And when you do, you can actually get yourself in a position where you can enjoy a certain lifestyle. And maybe you can get to a position where it serves you to get to the next phase, whatever the next phase is for you. So I would always say, do what you're good at. And you never know. You may end up actually love doing it. I would also say, don't do something that you don't like, that you hate, don't like. Because if it's something that you're good at, you just never know. I've always been good at numbers. I've always loved numbers. Anything to do with numbers, I'm really a fanatic when it comes to that. And I look at numbers in a variety of ways, and I love sports as well. So I look at the numbers side of sports that goes with it. I mean, for example, I will look at how sports teams go from perennial losers to champions, and then see what the worth is of those organizations. They also do a lot of things in a short period of time, because in sports, you don't have a lot of time. One season for them could be like 5-6 months, depending on the sport. And they have to produce some kind of a result. And if they don't, changes happen, because that's what happens in sports. And the way they tell is with what? Numbers. What do I love? Numbers. So for me, I could utilize numbers in a variety of ways. Well, what is it that you actually are really good at? And you may learn to love, because you just don't know. In my situation, it's always been, when I looked at numbers, I could see a person's life out of it. So that's why I got into accounting and bookkeeping, and that's why I'm still in it. And now we use technology to enhance that process as well. Because there's nothing worse, I'm going to be the first person to tell you, repetition can drive you crazy. But if the machines can do the repetition, and you just have to find out what the preferences are and get them to work for you, voila, now you've got that. And that's what's happened. So I would say, do what you're good at, and you never know, you may learn to love it like I did. Okay. And I would also say this, when people give you their opinions, do you know where it's coming from? Is the person who's telling you just giving you an opinion because they've heard something good, or there's somebody who's actually been in the business, something similar to where you've been in, and can actually give you information that makes a difference in where you are? Have they also been individuals who have struggled and are afraid to tell you their struggles? Because one of the things that you always hear about is that you hear all the successes, but for every success, there's things that you never hear about. And if they're willing to share that with you, that's probably worth more than the successes, because without that information, how would they have succeeded? What you will learn from them is that most individuals who do succeed in whatever you term as successful, to me, a success is you are actually doing something in an environment and you achieve a goal that you've set before you. For example, an athlete, their goal may be just to qualify for the Olympics. And some who qualify the Olympics want a medal. And some who want a medal, they want the gold medal. So each one is different. No one is right or wrong. All it is you're setting a goal. So are the people who are giving you advice qualified to give you that advice? And have you pre-qualified them to see them? Have you known them for a period of time, or have you admired them from a distance? Which is it? Those things come into play. And I would say again that not all advice is good advice, because I want you to show you the money. And how am I going to show you the money if I don't also share with you the things to watch out for? So that's why I say you don't know for sure that the advice that you're getting is what you want. And I would say take the time to get to know the person. Take the time to study the things that they've done. If there's somebody who's been in business, I mean, they got to have a presence on the internet. And if they don't, that should be a warning sign right there. And if you're sensing something's not right, follow that. That's one of the biggest things that we could utilize to make decisions. I've had that happen to me many times. I've been in situations where, something just didn't seem right, and I followed that, and sure enough, the truth eventually came out. Well, I hope this has helped you. I hope that you find what I've shared with you helpful. I look forward to any comments that you have. Please feel free to reach out to me and share anything that you want to share. And also, if I can help you in any way, I'd be happy to do so. And I'm wishing you a great day, and God bless and